Before Tchaikovsky and Borodin, there hadn't been much of a Russian tradition of string quartets. Certainly there had been attempts, but it wasn't particularly the form for which you would have earned grand national renown. That prestige was reserved for large-scale works like the opera or programmatic symphony. Today we tend to associate Tchaikovsky with his 6 symphonies and the ballets, Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, the Nutcracker. As one of the great Russian symphonists, we could be forgiven for overlooking the fact that his first string quartet from 1871 was the start of the Russian string quartet tradition. At the time, his finances were very thin, having long given up his civil servant salary to become a professional musician. He decided to arrange a benefit concert of his own works, and it was suggested to Tchaikovsky that he should compose a new work for the occasion, so as to arouse greater public interest. He had considered offering an orchestral work, but in his financial state of distress, realised he couldn't possibly afford an orchestra. He was, however, able to muster together a string quartet of colleagues from the Moscow Conservatoire. At the benefit concert, which also featured some of Tchaikovsky's lyrical piano pieces and songs, his new string quartet turned out to be the surprise highlight of the evening. Before this concert, Tchaikovsky hadn't had any of his works publicly played for over a year, and he could feel his compositional career slipping away. It was the success of this string quartet that helped Tchaikovsky re-establish his reputation. The quartet was something of a milestone, both for Tchaikovsky personally and for Russian music. One of the reviewers at the concert gave this quartet a nickname, the accordion. Now, this hasn't become the work's common title, say in the way that we might refer to Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, but I think the title is evocative. If we listen to the opening of the quartet and the way the chords resonate and swell, I think we can safely say that the accordion reference originates from those chords. The movement that Tchaikovsky's audiences adored the most was the second. Reportedly, it also brought the great Leo Tolstoy, Russian writer of War and Peace, to tears. The Andante movement was often performed as a standalone work, and it seems at times it exasperated Tchaikovsky. The work was still enjoying regular performances in 1884, which was 13 years after its initial premiere, prompting Tchaikovsky to write to his brother, "They don't want to know anything else but this Andante." This movement has a breathtakingly beautiful theme played by the first violin. The first time this theme is heard, floating over the top, all the accompanying instruments underneath are playing fairly simple moving parts. But with each new instance of the theme, the parts underneath change subtly. It's as if it's a theme in variations where only the scenery underneath is being transformed. This stunning theme is actually a Ukrainian folk song called Sidel Vanya. Tchaikovsky had heard this theme on a trip to the Ukraine whilst visiting his sister. Before Tchaikovsky rendered it into these beautiful new surroundings in the string quartet, it's somewhat ironic that the original context was heard with words along the lines of a man sitting on a couch, drinking rum, getting terribly drunk.